YouTube, Andrew Darling again. This is going to be a part 2 video about T-Mobile's Un-carrier, and this is going to talk about pricing for a 5-person family plan, or you can have one of the Fremilies, I think is what they call them, with friends or families get together, just to have more people on a plan so you can divide the cost up better. Last video in part 1, I talked about why the Un-carrier movement is so great, why it's a good thing, especially if you're in an area that has coverage. Now I'm going to talk about the cost related to T-Mobile versus other carriers for essentially as close to the same plan as I could find. I went to all the other carriers' websites, AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, built a plan, and just for argument's sake, we're going to use the iPhone 5S. Okay, it's $199 on all the other carriers. Zero down with T-Mobile, and then I believe it's $600. You pay $25 a month for 24 months, and that's the retail price. So with T-Mobile, to have 5 phones, 5 phones, one of them unlimited data, one of them 2.5 gigs, and the other 3 phones, no, this is all smartphones. The other 3 phones just get that first 500 megabytes for free. That's going to bring you to $140 a month. Now the price of each device, okay, so $25 a month times 5 devices is $125. That brings your total cost to $265 a month for 5 phones on a family plan. Obviously, all this is before taxes. All this is not including activation fees or anything like that. This is before taxes. $265 a month. Here's the thing with T-Mobile that is an advantage over the other 3. What if you bring your own phone? What if you go on Swappa and buy a phone that's compatible with T-Mobile? Now you don't have those monthly payments. You could take up to $125 off of your bill by simply bringing your own phones, or by paying off your devices. That isn't very smart though, and there's a reason for that. That's part of the Jump program. I can explain that later on in the video. So $265 a month, that's if you're paying $25 a phone. Obviously, if you get the Note 3, I think it's a little bit more than $25 a month, but it's not significantly more. Now, if you wanted to go to AT&T, who T-Mobile has been notoriously beating up now, especially at CES, for the same plan, the same essential plan, all right, for AT&T, it's 5 lines with 4 gigabytes of shared data. So with T-Mobile, with one line, we had 2.5 gigabytes, and then the 3 other lines got half a gigabyte, essentially 500 megabytes, is 4 gigabytes. But remember, we had one line that had unlimited data. So I'm trying to keep everything as comparable as possible. AT&T, 5 lines, 4 gigabytes of shared data, unlimited talk and text, $270 a month. So $5 more a month, and you have to pay the $199 for each phone. So that's $200 a phone essentially. That's $1,000 if you go and sign up with a family plan with AT&T. Verizon, exact same thing. 5 lines, 4 gigabytes of shared data, unlimited talk and text, $270. Same price, $199 for an iPhone 5S. 5 of them, it's going to be $1,000. Sprint, data's done a little bit differently, but essentially it's going to be the same thing. 5 lines. I gave one of them unlimited data, and the other 4 I just gave 1 gigabyte of data, and then it worked out to be $270. Now, if I would have given the 5th one just 1 gigabyte of data, I think it would have been $260 because it's a $10 difference. So they'd have came in at $5 under T-Mobile, but they wouldn't have had anybody with unlimited data. So I tried to keep it as comparable as possible. And with Sprint, same thing, $199 per iPhone 5S. Or, I mean, we can substitute that for any other one, but the iPhone 5S is clearly the most popular phone. So I just want to be able to relate to the most people possible. Y'all know I'm an Android. I don't want to call myself a fanboy, but I'm pretty stuck in Android. So T-Mobile, like I said, is $265. Doesn't seem like a whole lot different until you get to the point where, okay, say you came from another carrier, you traded in your devices, they paid your early termination fees, and I'm going to tell you here in just a second exactly how you might even be able to make money off of that. But you can save, like I said, up to $125 a month with T-Mobile, because it'd really be $130 because you wouldn't be paying for phones if you brought your own or if you paid for your phones outright initially. Doesn't really make sense to do that. It's 0% interest. Keep your money. I mean, if they're not going to charge you interest, it doesn't make sense to pay for the whole thing right away. And adds $25 to your bill, but you can gain interest on your money, but that's a whole nother topic. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to see if it made sense at all to maybe move to a carrier. Say you were with Verizon. You wanted to get to T-Mobile. Say you were done with your contract with Verizon. You wanted to go to AT&T and within a month switch to T-Mobile just to see if you could make money. You actually can. Is it going to be very much? Is it going to be worth it? That's up to you. So this is what I did. I decided to go ahead and do the math and just see. So say you're not on a contract right now and you take your 5 family lines to AT&T. And I'm going to get to a very, very big caveat here in a second when we get ready to move to T-Mobile. So say you go to AT&T, and instead of doing all this tech and having stuff show up, right here on the screen and right here on the screen, I just wrote it down. We're doing low budget stuff here. That's kind of what I do, what I'm relatively decent at. So I'll go over to this side. Here we go. So AT&T, all right, you're $200 per device. There's a $36 activation fee per device, $325 cancellation fee. So say you did it at 28 days. Okay, you cancel. You didn't even stay a full month with AT&T. All right, you're going to be out of your pocket $2,805. Okay, T-Mobile's going to pay that $325 because they'll pay up to $350, and we'll just say we all got the iPhone 5S, and we'll say it's only worth $250. Okay, they'll give you up to $300 if it's worth it, but $250 to be safe. Okay, so you have an opportunity. That's $575 per phone to make essentially. They're going to give you $2,875. Okay, you only paid $200 for the device up here with AT&T. They're going to give you $250. So you essentially make $50 per device. Well, after your activation fees, you really only made about $14 per device. So that essentially makes it to $75. Is it worth it at $75 to transfer 5 lines and all that fun stuff and then come to T-Mobile? And here's the caveat I was going to tell you. When you come to T-Mobile, in order to qualify for that early termination fee assistance is basically what it is, that up to $350, you have to trade in your phone and you have to port a number. So if you're doing this and you just say you left your phone on Verizon, your phone number that you want to keep on Verizon, but you're going to T-Mobile now by way of AT&T, is $75 worth it to you for 5 phones, even if you port your number? Probably not. It's not worth the hassle. It's not worth the delay. But when we come back over here, you see we estimated at getting $250 per device. What if you got the full $300? Then you'd be at $325 for 5 phones. Is it worth $325 to you per device? I don't know. That's up to you. It very well might be. So there is a way to actually make a couple dollars off of this. Now Verizon's early termination fee is $350, and Sprint's is a weird table of stuff. The first 6 months it's $350, and then it's like $340, $320, $310, $300, and it goes down in increments. AT&T's is pretty simple. It's $325 minus $10 for every month you've been with them. So if you've been with them for 5 months, you take $50 off, you're at $275. There is a place after about 6-7 months, if you can still get over $200 for your phone, where you can make money and it might actually make sense for you. The thing is, and T-Mobile was very, very smart in doing their early termination fee like this, is they're not going to just give you $350. They're going to give you whatever the early termination fee is, because you could really, really make money doing it if they didn't do it that way. And T-Mobile's smart. I mean, obviously they're much smarter than I am, and they're going through and doing all the research and doing what they need to do. There is a way, like I said, to make money. Is it going to be a lot? Is it going to be worth the trouble? Personally, for me, I'd say no. It's not worth the hassle. But there are some folks out there that it might be worth it. 2 big caveats. Like I said, I'm looking at T-Mobile's page right now, and once you submit your final bill for that ETF reimbursement, it says first you must have traded in your previous device and ported your number when you activated a new account with T-Mobile. So those are pretty big caveats. If you think you're going to come over and not port or try and find a way to finagle the system, and I'm sure there's ways out there, that's something to think about. So this is just the second part, comparing plans for a 5-person family plan on T-Mobile's new Uncarrier. This is going to be the second part. I'm probably done for the day. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening, rest of your weekend, rest of your day. Depends on when you watch the video. So again, this is Andrew Darling. YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe below if you enjoyed. If you didn't enjoy, don't like it, but still subscribe. I'll see if I can come up with something that you do enjoy. I appreciate it. Take care.